Howdy folks, Elcrix here, and welcome to episode 50 of Thoughts from the Inner Sphere. And today we're going to talk about a 20-tonner, the Stinger, which is a pretty decent mech for what it is, a pure scout. And how we can deal with it, or what we're going to do with it, well, we'll get into that. Now, the 20-ton Stinger. It is a 696 mover, has 6 jump jets, which it's going to need most of the time, just to make it survivable. It has 10 heat sinks and 48 points of armor. Now, for weapons, carries a medium laser in the right arm, has 2 machine guns, one in the right arm, one in the left arm, 1 ton of ammo in the center torso, and then it has in the right and left torso 3 jump jets each. Now, what do I think of the Stinger? As I said, it's a pure 100% scout mech, and its whole purpose is to spot or get in and get out. Now, it can be used possibly for anti-infantry. It has those 2 machine guns, which can do a number on small platoons or squads or sections of infantry and kind of corral them up and take care of them, or use it if you get close enough. But be honest with you, as I've talked about before, when you're a scout, you're doing yourself more favors for your team if you're moving as fast as you can and not really using your weapons. Your weapon is your eyes and ears for the rest of your lands and company. Let's say you're attached to a unit. Let's say you have 1 Stinger and you're carrying like a couple archers behind you and a catapult, or say a dervish or a trebuchet, you name it. Anything that's carrying some LRM 10s, 15s, or 20 packs, this thing can get in there, move around as fast as it can, and then be able to put its eyes on something and use it to rain down fire on somebody and just rip them to pieces. Let's say you got a slow-moving 3-5 mover or something of that nature that's just slowly plugging along. It's a plugger, like an Atlas or something, and you spot and you put your eyes on it, and next thing you know, you're having 6 to 8 LRM launchers coming in. Heck, even just think of a LRM carrier. Yeah, lots and lots of LRMs, and that's the whole purpose of a scout. You don't really want to engage with it. Now, later in the game, when your opponents are tore up a lot, then yeah, you can possibly dive in and start looking at flanks and stuff where you're just like, okay, that guy is missing a whole right torso armor, and I can get in there, use my jump jets to full effect, jump in there, get into that flank, and hit him with the medium laser and machine guns, and then go crit hunting. And that's the whole purpose of this mech. Is early in the game, you're more beneficial doing the job of the scout, finding, fixating, and having your follow-on forces raining down fire from the sky. And then later on, it's like, okay, everybody's tore up, everybody's in a slugfest where, you know, to be honest with you, when you're playing 30-25, 30-39, or before the clans, or even during the clans, which we're going to get into here eventually, is that almost every single game ends up into a scrum. And if you don't know what a scrum is, yeah, go watch a rugby game. And I played rugby, and you just get into each other's faces, and you're hanging on to each other, banging, you know. You think football is a scrum. That's not. Just go take a look at a rugby game. And you're just glomming onto each other. You're in point-blank range where you're punching, you're kicking. You know, if you have something available to go do some punching and you're at the end of the game where everybody has their armor ripped off, and you do a nice punch. Heck, even this little guy with his little, actually, he's probably better off kicking, but, because he's going to have those 2 machine guns and that medium laser in his arms. He'd rather be using those for shooting than he'd rather kick then. But you get later in the game, little punches and kicks and stuff from a little guy like this, he's going to start showing up and doing some work. And hopefully tipping the scales in your favor. Now, let's just take a quick gander at some of the variants here. Unlike its sister, the Wasp, which is another good mech we're going to be talking about here probably next week, and the Stinger helps with text by dropping. Okay, most common thing is to drop the 2 machine guns in favor of additional armor and another medium laser in the left arm. This variant does cause some normal heat problems suffered by many other mechs, but it makes the Stinger more potent scout. Now, the whole thing right there is that what they're talking about is the G version, and I prefer the G version myself. And what it is that you got 2 medium lasers, and then you have pretty much maxed out armor. You're just like a half-ton short of maxed out, and you're able to take a few more hits in the long run than you do with this one. To be honest with you, a little bit more armor makes a big difference on a mech. And with those 2 medium lasers, yeah, they're 2 5-point shots, but you don't have to get within 3 hexes to use 1 ton of your weaponry, which is like in this version, the 3R, which has got those 2 machine guns. But they say the drawback is you have more heat. Alright, so you got 10 heat sinks. You fire the 2 medium lasers, that's 6. That leaves you 4 unaccounted for. So if you jump 6, you're only going up 2. So that's really not a big issue. You can do that for a turn without having any worries. And then you can jump back out and go someplace else and only fire 1. So it's hit or miss. It's not really a big issue per se. And when you're looking at it in the long run, I'm not really worried too much about that little bit of heat that you might be gaining from that. And so that's not really a big issue. Now, if you keep doing that every turn, jump 6, fire both of them, yeah, eventually you're going to have some problems where you're going to start having issues with being able to hit your target even more because you're heating up, and then you get to that one point where you start having those minuses to hit because of the heat scale. Yeah, then you're going to have problems, and then you need to really think about what you're doing and totally jump out and start cooling off a lot. But I'm not the type of person that likes to cook my mechs in the first place. Why hurt yourself even more with more heat? It's kind of like preaching to the choir here, but hopefully by this time you know what I've been talking about. Now, anything how I would change this mech, there's really nothing. To be honest with you, I just run the G version, the 3G. And to me, that version of the mech is perfectly suits the nature of how I'm going to use it as a pure scout. And I'm not really going to try to get in there and start hammering on somebody, because the whole purpose of this mech, like I keep saying, is you're going to take this mech in a scout, probably a scout lance or support lance as the eyes and ears, and you're going to be using it for your fire support. Plain and simple. Now, you could be in a pure scout lance where, let's say you got a couple stingers, might have a wasp and a locust. Well, that's a different story then. And the whole thing there, then you're trying to do the anti-scout maneuvering, anti-mech scout type thing, where as a whole of a lance, you're concentrating fire on, let's say, one other scout and trying to rip him down, take a leg off or something. Because if a scout loses his leg, he's done dinner. Just plain and simple. He's dead. he's going to be punching out, because a slow scout is a dead scout. That's just the nature of the game. Now, if you have any questions about this, like I said, this is a pretty straightforward mech. How would you use it? I'm just curious how anybody else uses it. There might be other ways you plan on doing it, or might be a couple other variants or something, but just let me know. Put it down below, and we'll talk to you in the next one. This is Hellcracks, and you have a good one.